Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us.
Well, welcome back to Focus today. We've got an interesting guest who is in the behind-the-scenes aspects of something you might be seeing coming up at the theater or maybe on your own DVD player. His name is Mitch Wright. He's a national award-winning TV film and TV and film producer. 16 years experience in documentary films, 23 years experience in live events and televised productions. I thought I was going to be talking to somebody who's 65 years old. He doesn't look that way. So the first question I have, are you really Mitchell Wright?
Yes, I am, Steve. Great to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
You know, there's so many things that we could be talking about, what you are seeing take place, because we're fascinated we're at theDove always looking for fresh new content that is relevant to our audience. And I know, well, isn't everybody is what the answer would be, but there's so little of it out there, and it's so easy just to stick somebody behind a pulpit with a microphone and then film it and say, that's great TV. And it really isn't. You know, I think people scanning through see how it isn't that way. You know this, of course, because of your background. But what I think is fascinating is you're gearing up with Focus on the Family in a series called the Family Reclamation Series. And it looks like the first film out of this is The Dropbox. Have I summarized that accurate? Is that the first film out of this series?
It's actually, you're close. It's the second. We came out last May with our first documentary film, Irreplaceable, which really looked at the question, does family still matter, and God's design for families. So this is our second doc in that series, and it is The Dropbox, and it is a fantastic film done by a young filmmaker right out of SC Film School that, to your point, there are storytellers out there that are gifted by God that can do things as good as anybody else in the market, and we want to be able to have that kind of quality in our storytelling first, but we tell the stories that really simply God working extraordinary things through ordinary people, but through the gifting of great storytellers, filmmakers that can bring this to light in a fantastic way.
So if I have this right, then you're coming alongside some of these people that you're targeting, saying these people will have a story to tell, they know how to do it, and we want to help you as much as possible. So it's kind of an independent production that you're trying to say, you sold us on it, let's work with you. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. For The Dropbox, that is the case. We actually, Irreplaceable was our film that we did soup to nuts all the way through production. This one we teamed with Kindred Image, another nonprofit, and Arbella Studios to present The Dropbox, which it's a fantastic film, a story of a pastor in South Korea that was tired of seeing babies left abandoned by dumpsters and doorways, that created a night deposit box in his home that gave these young lives a safe place and then eventually a forever home. That they need a whole lot of care, and he was the first to kind of step up and provide that for them.
You know, we covered a news story on that about a year ago, and that was the first I think any of us had heard of this. I guess it's more of a phenomenon that actually happens in some Asian countries that way, where it's literally like you would have almost like a mailbox that's inside of a building, where the door outside the building where people can come in, leave a baby, it goes in, and then it becomes an orphaned child pretty much. Is that kind of what The Dropbox is about?
Yes, it is, Stephen. It's really for those young women who had no other recourse, no other option available, and in fact, some that would consider killing themselves and their baby because it looks so shamefully in that culture. But this provides them a way that they can leave their child in safe hands with total anonymity, and then provide a life and a chance for these young children. And that's what the Dropbox is, just a fantastic way of seeing God at work through the lives of regular people like you and I, but that each of these children that were considered of very little worth are just beautiful children that have such value and have a purpose, a God-given purpose in this world for this time. It's very much like, and the thing that's really cool about this story, Steve, is that Brian Ivey, the young director that we're working with on this film, wasn't a Christian when he went out to tell this story. He saw it as a great story that might get him a chance at Sundance Film Festival. But what it ended up doing is really kind of waking him up to what God does with all of us. We're all, we have our disabilities, our brokenness, and yet we're adopted into the family that God gives us. And he was able to really see that while he was documenting Pastor Lee and his wife and what they do and have done for over 600 children now. But it really changed his life and let him see what the Father's love truly means in his life. And he's a changed man, totally passionate about telling this story now and others. It's fun to see what God does with these young creative people that are now kind of set loose on the world to tell of the great stories of what God does. That's
amazing. How will we be able to see this?
It's a limited engagement. We're in 700 plus theaters nationwide on Tuesday, March 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. It's a limited engagement, but we want to create more of an event than just a chance to go out and see a story. What we have immediately following the film, we'll have a panel discussion with Brian Ivy. We'll get to ask some questions of him and what was on his heart as he came to make this film. We also have Stephen Curtis Chapman and his wife, who have a real heart for the orphan. Oh, yeah. It's the way that we can have a dialogue immediately after seeing this wonderful film in the world premiere of it, to think about what does that mean to care for the lost and the least, the orphan and the widow in our neighborhoods, or if it's something that lights a spark in someone's heart and sends them halfway around the world to care for orphans. Fantastic. Yeah. We just want to start that conversation and look to do that next week.
Sounds cool. Now, is that coming to the Medford area?
Yes, it is. If you go to the dropboxfilm.com, we have a list of all the theaters in your area that you can go and get some tickets for, and a portion of the proceeds from every ticket will go toward building a new orphanage for Pastor Lee and caring for orphans around the globe.
Okay, what I'd urge you to do in the future when you have these, get in touch with us early on, and we can really get the word out, because to plan out this a little bit further would be a terrific thing, and we'd like to partner with you on that. We've only got about a minute, so let me ask you, what the purpose of this kind of a series, Focus on the Family, is moving more towards film, is that right?
Yeah, well, they've done film in the past. I'm kind of new to Focus. I've been here 2.5 years, but the idea is using 21st century tools, much like what you're doing, Stephen, with the web TV is one aspect of reaching people in our culture in really germane ways. And I think there are times when you want to invite a friend to church, and that just hasn't taken root, but it's a lot easier to perhaps say, I hear some good things about this film, let's go down to our local theater, and that's where I think the church can really start to activate in culture with these wonderful stories that really have an underlying message. Great stories that serve a greater purpose is really what we want to be doing and sharing God's love.
Hey, that's cool. Let's partner in the future. That sounds great. Mitchell Wright, our guest, the Dropbox coming in on Tuesday. We'll be telling you more about that. Thanks for being with us on Focus today.